Now at 5 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, President Joe Biden's son Hunter Biden is convicted of all 3 felonies in his federal gun trial. And lawyers for disgraced Thorano CEO Elizabeth Holmes are seeking a new trial. The reason behind the decision this afternoon. And authorities in North Texas share more details in Operation Texas Kill Switch, a program to remove illegal switches from the streets.
Well, as I promised you yesterday, the tropics are beginning to move. We have something that's going to be rolling out and flooding into Florida. Now, there is a possibility we may get some of that activity. It's not expected to be a full-fledged storm, but it is certainly going to be stormy. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a few minutes.
A Brownsville zoo is calling on the public's help to stop wildlife trafficking. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. Victoria police arrested a 20-year-old man this morning. Zachariah Martinez faces a charge from Lavaca County of theft of a grave or human corpse or military marker. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $50,000 bond. And over in Calhoun County, deputies arrested a man Saturday. That's 36-year-old Blake McMillan facing charges including evading arrest with a vehicle and unlawful carry of a weapon. He is in the Calhoun County Jail in lieu of a $100,000 bond. Now today, a jury in Delaware found Hunter Biden guilty on federal gun charges after 3 hours of deliberations. This historic verdict on the president's son was delivered to a courtroom filled with members of the Biden family.
President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was found guilty of 3 charges in federal court Tuesday. This is the first time in history a child of a sitting president has been convicted in federal court.
No one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions, even this defendant.
All 3 charges related to illegally buying and possessing a gun while abusing or being addicted to drugs. Prosecutors accused Biden of lying about his drug use on a federal form in 2018 when he bought a revolver in Delaware. Biden had pleaded not guilty. Now he faces up to 25 years in prison and a fine of up to $750,000 when he is sentenced, though he is likely to receive far less than the maximum as a first-time offender.
This case was not just about addiction. This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction.
Members of the Biden family, including First Lady Jill Biden, were in the Wilmington, Delaware courtroom throughout the trial, showing support for Hunter. During closing arguments, the prosecution was quick to remind jurors the famous family's support shouldn't impact their decision. I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
So here is your viewer poll. You can scan that QR code right there on your screen to vote. The question is, should Hunter Biden receive the maximum sentence of up to 25 years in prison? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Come to CrossroadsToday.com/vote to take part. And we're going to have an update on 25 News now at 6. And now let's take a look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac, what is the latest out there?
Well, it's obviously hot and steamy, but now here is something that's just developed within the last hour or so. We've got a line of storms right along I-35 right about there, and they're dropping southward. So you're down here, so give it an hour or 2 before it rolls into the crossroads. Those of you in Gonzales are going to be first, and so is Cuero. Should be here by probably 6 o'clock tonight. So stormy weather expected to roll into the crossroads, and we'll have more on that and on the tropics coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. Federal law enforcement in North Texas say there's a concerning rise of illegal switches being used on guns in the state of Texas. They have now come up with a new program to get these switches completely off the streets. It's an operation called Operation Texas Kill Switch.
Pull the trigger.
With one shot, ATF agents show how illegal handgun can turn into what they call a mini machine gun.
So the time was 1.87.
It's all done by illegal switches, little devices that can hold down the trigger and fire dozens of bullets in seconds.
They can turn Second Amendment protected firearms into illegal weapons of war and petty criminals into brutal killers.
U.S. Attorney Leah Simonton says there's been a drastic increase in the number of switches found in Texas. Brian New with the CBS News I-Team reported on this trend, connecting a 2020 case in Arlington where a switch was used. According to the ATF, nearly 1,000 switches were recovered in Texas between 2017 and 2023. Half of those switches confiscated just last year.
So this is an unloaded gun that I'm holding, but this little device right here behind the gun, that's one example of a switch. And then this little yellow plastic device, yeah, this is a 3D printed switch. You can see it's super tiny, easy to deliver across the world. Police have even found them in the hands of young kids and sold on social media.
These hit our intended target. These two shots here did not hit our intended target, and these are the things that worry us. It could hit one of us, it could hit you, any innocent bystander. So we just want to make sure that we can take these things off the street.
Now the U.S. Attorney's Office and the ATF are launching Operation Texas Kill Switch, giving more resources to law enforcement.
Today's a win for local law enforcement, for the DFW Metroplex as a whole.
The operation runs through August.
One resource includes a reward of up to $5,000 for anonymous tips that help get these switches off the streets. Lawyers for disgraced former Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes will appeal her conviction before a California court today. Holmes was originally sentenced to 11 years in prison for defrauding investors in her failed blood testing company. She is seeking a new trial. Holmes' lawyers are arguing the judge in the case made errors in several decisions during the 2022 proceedings. Holmes is serving her sentence at a minimum security facility in Bryan, Texas, and she is not expected to appear in court anytime soon. A zoo in Brownsville is asking for the public's help to stop the illegal trafficking of endangered wildlife like monkeys across the border. Since March, the Porter Zoo there has been staffing night and day to try and keep alive monkeys that were illegally smuggled from Mexico. Federal authorities sent a total of 18 spider monkeys and one howler monkey to the zoo. All of the monkeys are part of an endangered species. The zoo has reached out to other zoos to see if they can help care for some of these monkeys. Cuero has a new city council member. Adam Arroyo was appointed council member at large at Monday night's city council meeting. He will fill in the remaining term left by Emil Garza, who is now mayor of Cuero. Arroyo was a member of Cuero's 1987 state football championship team, and he later played football at Baylor and was the athletic director and head football coach at Bloomington High School. Monday morning, Victoria Parks and Rec staff spotted an alligator swimming in the Riverside Park duck pond. Officials say the gator was fairly small, and the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department were immediately notified and contacted to provide a private trapper to remove the animal today. Officials want to remind the public when visiting the duck pond to stay out of the water when fishing or observing wildlife. And if they see an alligator, try not to panic and give it some space. Now remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. A 55-year-old man is accused of stabbing 4 Americans in a park in northeastern China. Straight ahead on 25 News Now 5, the details in this attack. Also ahead, a startup tech group in Birmingham is testing a new device to help bring life-saving aid to those suffering from an overdose. Tuesday, Malawi's president announced the vice president and 9 others were killed in a plane crash. The wreckage of the military plane carrying the vice president was located in a mountainous area in the north part of the country after a search that lasted more than a day. There were no survivors of the crash. The president made the announcement in a live address on state television. The plane went missing Monday morning while making the 45-minute flight from the southern African nation's capital to a city in the north. Police in northeastern China have arrested a man they say stabbed 4 Americans at a park. All 4 teach at Cornell College in Iowa and were taking part in a partnership with a university. Video showing the aftermath of the attack surfaced on Chinese social media but was quickly censored. Police say the suspect is a 55-year-old man who they say collided with a foreigner while walking. One of the victims is the brother of an Iowa state representative. He says his brother is doing well and is now recovering. Secretary of State Antony Blinken today announced more than $400 million in new American humanitarian assistance to Palestinian civilians in Gaza, the Israeli-occupied West Bank and neighboring countries. Blinken spoke at an emergency international conference boosting aid to Gaza as the Israel-Hamas war rages into its 9th month. He said the Biden administration will contribute an additional $404 million to support vulnerable and displaced Palestinians.
Today, I'm announcing an additional $404 million in new aid to Palestinians, in addition to the more than $1.8 billion in development, economic, and humanitarian aid that the United States has provided since 2021.
The aid conference was hosted by Jordan's king and attended by other Arab leaders as well as the Palestinian president. The 3 Arab leaders have repeatedly called for a ceasefire in Gaza. In the U.S. this year, an organization reported at least 86 shootings unintentional shootings by children, resulting in more than 30 deaths. While these tragedies do happen, there are ways that this can be prevented.
It can happen in an instant. Little hands on a gun can have deadly consequences.
But because it's a leading cause of death in children, there are many things that parents are not aware of that they can do to prevent their child from being injured or killed by a firearm.
Emergency medicine Dr. Keisha Frazier-Doe with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta says a key to prevention is properly storing a firearm. Remember 3 simple things: keep guns unloaded, locked, and stored separately from ammunition.
There is a 70% reduction in injury if you have your gun stored locked up. So you can keep your family safe by just keeping it locked up.
Since unintentional shootings can happen anywhere, Frazier-Doe says every parent should ask about guns before allowing their child to go to another home.
Say, hey, how do you store your firearms? Or do you have an unsecured firearm in your home? Or do you keep your guns locked up in your home? And just have it in the flow of your conversation that you would normally have with families.
Other tips: come up with comfortable wording for you. Keep it in your notes on your phone and text the questions. Frazier-Doe says you can also place blame either on the impulsiveness or curiosity of your child or on a pediatrician who suggests you ask these questions.
All of these are ways that you can ask without having to be nervous or concerned about the combativeness of it.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
A tech startup company in Birmingham, Alabama hopes a new device will help fight drug overdoses. The overdose detection device created by OD Revive is a prototype at the moment, but the wrist-worn device would be able to detect and report a drug overdose. The device works by tracking oxygen blood levels, which can drop during an opioid overdose. If levels drop, an alert is sent to the wearer's emergency contact. The device creator believes this device can help bridge the gap between overdose victims and life-saving aid.
Because of that solitary nature of addiction and the throes of it, right? There's nobody there to identify the overdose happening. So you have 30,000 people here, theoretically, right, armed with Narcan, but the missing link is OD Revive that connects the person who has the Narcan to the person who's having the overdose.
The startup is looking into federal and state funding. The goal is that rehab facilities will purchase these devices for those who are most at risk.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, another hot and steamy sort of afternoon, but a little perspiration never hurt anybody. 93 is the current temperature. It feels like 106. I do believe our high temperature is going to be 94 for today. 92 is our average. We're actually going to get some thunderstorms rolling down from the north tonight. So we'll talk about that and take a look at the tropics coming up in a moment. Well, good afternoon, everybody. We had a few little coastal showers this afternoon, but that's not the main event. The main event is right about there. As you can see, there's a big line of storms crossing over I-35 right about now, getting already past Austin. They're about San Marcos. So you know what happens next. It's going to be crossing I-10 and coming into the crossroads. Give it an hour or two, depending on where you're standing. This activity is actually being triggered by this small pocket of low pressure that's up over Oklahoma. You can see how this line right here differentiates between an unstable atmosphere that will produce thunder showers and a stable atmosphere that's not going to produce anything. That's because the dome of heat is on top of it, and already the dome is already into the desert southwest as well. Now, that being said, what time? Well, here we are. We're going to move forward into time, and you can see how the thunderstorms are really dropping southward. So there's I-35, here's I-10, Seguin, so Gonzales, and those of you out there, I guess Cuero and Norheim, you guys are going to be first. Should be rolling into the city probably by, I would say, 6 o'clock, maybe earlier. All depends on where you are. And as a matter of fact, here's future clouds and radar. So we're going to go forward to 7 o'clock. And that's about then 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock should be over us. So we're looking for this line of storms to affect you tonight. And then it rolls down toward the coastal waters and right about there. There's a slimmer chance of anything actually popping tomorrow. No, I'm sorry, that's 40% chance tomorrow. Then after that, it all sort of goes away. I'll tell you why, because everything now starts shifting to the tropics. We're going to have to watch the tropics very carefully. We have our first potential system developing right about there. Now, as I told you yesterday, this was the most likeliest area to develop, and it is coming through because by the time we get to Tuesday, Wednesday, certainly by Wednesday, Thursday, an area of lower pressure is expected to form right about here. It's actually off the tip of the Yucatan. This becomes a tropical wave. It's not a depression. Shouldn't be a named storm, but it is invest number 90, and that's going to roll up into Florida. Now, as you can see, the storm is not exactly well organized. It sort of wobbles around there and eventually crosses out into the Atlantic. But in the meantime, Florida's going to get anywhere from 10 to 15 inches of rain. So it's, just as bad as anything else. It's not a wind system, it's a water system, and that's what they're going to have to be dealing with. And of course, our concerns are that the waters are so warm, they're ripe and ready to go. Look at that, 88 degrees even right off the coast from the crossroads, 86, 85. It's just warm water, tepid water, ready to roll once something rolls over it. So tomorrow, we were looking for the showers to come in tonight and be around again tomorrow afternoon, 87 to 88 along the coast. Inland areas about 87 to 88, almost 90 degrees with isolated thunder showers not only tonight but into tomorrow. And then it gets real hot and steamy for the weekend, but then we'll have to watch the tropics to see what happens with the remnants of that system. That is your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Karina.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we're going to take a look at your stocks. Plus, a new study shows how the hidden cost of home ownership rose since 2020. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow down 121 points, the S&P 500 up 15 points, and the Nasdaq up 151 points. Oil up 16 cents, closing at $77.90 per barrel. A new bank rate study shows U.S. homeowners are paying an average of more than $18,000 a year on property taxes, homeowners insurance, maintenance, energy, and other expenses linked to owning a home. That's a 26% increase from 4 years ago. The study also found the per month cost of owning and maintaining a home rose from over $1,200 a month in 2020 to $1,500. Over in Florida, a jury found Chiquita Brands International liable for financing a Colombian military group Monday. The U.S. considered the organization known as AUC a terrorist group before it disbanded in 2006. Because this is a civil lawsuit, the company is not criminally convicted of any wrongdoing. The fruit company has to pay more than $38 million to the families of 8 victims of the AUC. Their verdict found the company knowingly provided substantial assistance to the AUC to a degree sufficient to create a foreseeable risk of harm to others. There's a growing number of water bursting from abandoned oil wells in West Texas. You can read this Texas Tribune article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your forecast when we come back. Plus, a lottery mystery was finally solved in Michigan, revealing 3 winners. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Up tonight, Hunter Biden convicted. Tonight, 2 jurors speaking to ABC News what they reveal inside the jury room. The jurors split down the middle at first. This rush hour bus hijacking, stunning images coming in now. And the storm's extreme heat moving east next.
A 6-month mystery was solved today in Michigan. The winner of an $842 million jackpot was finally revealed. Michigan lottery officials announced that a group called the Breakfast Club was the winner of the New Year's Day windfall. Officials say the ticket was purchased at a convenience store. The group plans to receive their prize as a lump sum of $305 million after taxes. Their plans with the money include early retirement, a second home in Florida, helping family, and giving back to the community. Now, if I won the lottery, Mac, I would not tell you, unfortunately, but there would be signs.
There would be signs.
There would be signs. You see me whipping around in a Lamborghini, maybe, perhaps.
You'd come back to work.
I would come back to work.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, you never
I'm glad to
know.
know that.
Money can disappear.
Well, it can. You know,
Yeah,
so
especially with my 3 Lamborghinis. So
Yes, and you got to keep that day job, you know. Well, folks, while it's warm and steamy right now, up the road on I-10, we're looking at some storms rolling down into the crossroads. So you'll see some showery, stormy weather coming in tonight. I don't expect it to be severe, but it is wet. And then by tomorrow, it sort of thins out. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, very warm, very humid. And then, of course, the tropics are beginning to stir. So we'll be watching that weather system move across Florida and should stay on that side of the Gulf.
All righty. Thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.